Yogah Karmasu Kaushalam.
I, Dr. Pratibha Desai, the Associate Professor, Coordinator, UGC Scheme for Persons with Disability, Shivaji University. Thank you, UGC Human Resource Development Center for Gujarat University, Gujarat, for giving me an opportunity. This is the first opportunity to connect with you and deliver my sessions on accessibility of persons with disability in persons with disability and inclusive practices in the higher education. I am very much for thankful Professor Dr. Jagdish Joshi, the Professor and Director UGC HRDC of the Gujarat University. I am very much thankful for the HRDC team for organizing such a wonderful refresher course in social sciences. I am thankful for all those who involved, direct and indirect, for organizing such a wonderful conferences. With this, I want to say something about HRDC Gujarat. Being a resource person, I want to say that whenever I see the website, the HRDC website or academic staff colleges throughout the country, I see that the HRDC of the Gujarat has been continuously conducting the programs, and it is to be the say that and HRDC Gujarat is University Gujarat is ranked as 15 in India and number 1 in Gujarat. It become number 1 by organizing the following programs. It is continuously organizing the programs, refresher courses, orientation courses, research methodology courses for the PhD students. And the first of its kind, it organizes the first of its kind online refresher course in India in the year 18 and 19, and about 250 participants has had participated in this wonderful refresher course. And second one thing is that the first of its kind, and it also organizes the first of its kind online refresher program in English language and teaching with record break where 9,000 participants had participated in this program in 1920. And same thing has to be conducted in 2020 and 21 in and where to 3,500 participated has a participant had participated in these programs. And this is the first this organized the first online professional program for the administrative staff of the university during the lockdown with 105 participants, and it is the first kind of PhD coursework for all the registered PhD scholars of the Gujarat University has been since 2016. It is organizing the PhD coursework for the PhD students from 2016. This HRDC has a dynamic website, and it has many MOUs and that is MOUs and collaborations with other universities within the India and outside of the India. With these few words about the HRDC, I am once again thankful for the HRDC, UGC HRDC Gujarat University and the director and other all the staff members for giving me such a wonderful opportunity to deliver a sessions for the refreshers course, third refresher online refresher course in the social science. For this session, my topic is the accessibility of persons with disability and inclusive practices in the higher educations. And this entire session is to be divided into three parts. The first part deals with the introductory part, that is the meaning, definitions and types of the disability, and then second the types of the disability and statistical profile of the disability in India. And second part deals with the various acts and guidelines for the accessibility of the persons with disability in the higher educations and higher educations, that is particularly university and affiliated its affiliated colleges. And the third part deals with the what are the inclusive practices, or what are the measures that the university and its affiliated colleges should have incorporated in their institutions to enhance the participations of disability in the campuses, and to make the disability friendly campuses, and to enhance their participations in the higher educations. Now let us start with first part. As we know that, then first thing is that the famous the economist Amartya Sen has told that his one of the statement of his is very famous, that disabled people are not only the most deprived human beings in the developing world, they are also most neglected people. See that they have the mobility restrictions. These people have n number of the problems, health problem, educational problems. Their first thing is that the mobility has restricted them to fight against all these things. So as compared to other deprived sections or deprived groups, these disabled groups are to be very much, they are to be the deprived. Not only the deprived, but they are also stigmatized. And well, and they are, because of the stigmatizations, they are the most neglected persons in the throughout the country, not only throughout the country, in the world also. Then we have to aware about that. Earlier it was to be considered that the sympathetic approach for the disability, and there is to be the only rehabilitative type of the approaches, that what should be we have to done for them, for the rehabilitations of these people, all types of the disabled people. But now the according to RPD Act 2016, it is not only the rehabilitative, but it is the right based approach. Because being the disabled persons, they are the disabilities, they are the human beings first. They are the human beings first, but nantar they are the after that they are the disabled persons. After that, disabled persons, and they have their own right. As a human being, they have their own human rights, and that right should be given to them. And they are demanding their rights also. And for to participate, their participation is very important. Being bar, if we neglected them, then what about the human resources? If we rehabilitate them, their contributions is also very important for the development of the nation. So for this, we have to not see them if they are the deprived group, but we have to try for them to bring in the mainstream society, and to enhance or to consider them as a human beings are important assets for the nations. And their participations in the that is to the school level, it's okay. There are many specialization schools or in inclusive schools, they are also getting the admissions, but at the higher education level, their participation is to be the very low. And being that the higher education is to be the important for the employment purposes or for their social status, so participations in the higher education should be enhances for these disabled persons. And so that's why I'm saying that my important topic or my important object of this session is to enhance the participations of these disabled people. We have to access our campuses. Not only the access our campuses, but we have also access our colleges, campuses, and each and everything from admission to the giving the degree, up to giving the degree. We have to make everything the accessible. When we will provide the accessible campus, then only we can give them the justice, or we can give them, or we can enhance the participations of these people in the higher education. Now let us start with, this is the brief introductions of my sessions. Now let us start with what is the meaning of the disability. As we all of know that the disability is a part of human conditions. It is the part of human conditions, and disability term as any restrictions or lack of ability to perform an activity in a manner or within the range of considered normal for the human beings, or resulting for the impairment, termed as a disability. Once again, I will quote that same definitions. That is, the disability is also termed as any restrictions or a lack of the ability or lack of ability to perform an activity in a manner or with a range of considered a normal for the human beings resulting from the impairment is termed as a disability. That means they have something abnormal with their body. For example, the normal people have the two legs, but they have also two legs, but one leg is not properly functioning. Then there is something impairment in his leg, or there is the restrictions in his legs. Other normal people can speak very fluently. For the in the childhood, the 1.5 year child can speak some words, but same thing one other child can't speak in the same age, can't speak any single word also. Then he has something as the impairment with his some body. So that's why this is the impairment, and that impairment has to be considered a restrictions for them also. For example, restrictions for the mobility, restrictions for the participations, and restrictions for the to do the normal things by day, because they can do work. For example, blind people, what the eyes are the functioning, that is not possible with them. So that's they have having the impairment, or that they are not, that means they have many problems with functioning the day to day. So according to RPD Act, there are the 20 types of the disability. This recently 2016 Act has identified 25 types of the disability, and in further we will discuss what are those disability, and what types of the disability it has to be the given. And but in 1995 Act has given only the 7 types of the report, 7 types of the disabilities. See that NSSO report has given that the disabled persons are the statistics shows that the disabled persons are more from the rural areas as compared to the urban areas. See that overall 1086 as per the lack of the populations are from the rural areas, whereas 1499 per lakh as per the urban areas. That means as compared to rural urban areas, the more persons are the more disabled persons are from the rural areas. This is because there are the n numbers of the problems. For example, there is the illiteracy, poverty, rampant poverty, and stigma is there, misconception is there, and there is superstition is there. Still the people are not ready to accept their child is to be the mentally retarded. They are thinking that this is the curse of the, or this is the God's curse. That is the, we have some fate, we have to done some sins in the our last that is birth, and so this is to be the, this is our fate, और दिस इज अवर बेकार, ये हमारा नसीब है कि पिछले जन्मों ने हमने कुछ तो पाप किया होगा, ऐसा उसका वो मिसकंसेप्शन सा है. Or so they are, that's why they are not ready to give the early interventions for this their child. And there is another problem is whenever they, if they accept the child is to be the mentally retarded, but they have no such a economic conditions to provide them these type of the early interventions or something for the that means to give, because these type of the childrens need more concern. For example, more the parent should be given. For example, a normal child needs 1 hour consideration, 1 hour, but whereas these children have they need to the more than 2 3 hours, more than 2 3 hours. That means your time is also needed. And these people are mostly those who have these types of the children, they are to be the working as agricultural laborers, and they have to go for work every day. So that's why they have to need to the that means their livelihood also important, so that they are not given much concern about this. There is no time. And there another one thing is that there is no medical facilities also, or the hospital facilities For example, at the birth of the time of the child, there is no pediatricians availability, gynecologist availability, or there are the n number of the reasons where these peoples. And another thing is important one is to be the superstitions also is there, and stigma is there. And it is also in the urban areas, but as compared to the urban, it is to be the more in the more proportionately in the rural areas, because the people are not ready to give or to identify the problems at the early age. So that's also it is to be the important having the more number of the disabled persons from the rural areas. Next, to the disabled groups of the, because of the restrictions, because of the immense number of the that means mobility problem, these disabled groups are facing immense social, political, cultural, economic, and environmental barriers. Fortunately, this situation is to be gradually changing and in positive directions due to the effects of the the governmental interventions, and also the some of the, not at all, but some of the NGOs are doing very good in this concern. And see that throughout the centuries, disabled have been oppressed, the victimizations and stigmatization in almost all society. I have already told that these are more deprived or neglected because the disability itself is to be the stigmatized, and it is to be the stigmatized as from culture to culture, from society to society, from residence to, that is, I have just said that more number of the disabled are to be the stigmatized in the rural areas as compared to the more number of the disabled to be the in the urban areas. And disabled, so that's why the disabled should be important issues by the government, so that this is the important, it is to be the considered. Now the government has to be it is to be first, or I think that the government has to be given the zero polio eradications according to the second health national health policy. It has to be aimed for health for all, 2020 and 20, but still the polio has been eradicated completely. At least in the future, the polio related, or for example locomotory disability number will be decrease in the future. But same thing is also been that the more number of the accidents are also happening, which also impair or which also meets the number of the disability. And so that's why disability is one of the important public health. It needs the early interventions, it needs the more attention. So that's why it is to be the major and important topic. And see that the World Health Organization defines disability as any restrictions or lack of resulting from an impairment ability to perform a manner within the range of consider for the normal human being. Just already I have given the explanation for same thing, that Health has also given these same definitions, that the disabled persons can't they can't do, or they can't properly work with of their restrictions, or with their restrictions. I see that one of the major problem which affect the interventions on the issues of disability, that is the, see that I have already told you that the interventions of these disabled people, or for example implementations of the programs or policies for these people, there is no accurate or authenticity of the data in the throughout the India. There is no enumerations, that means how many types of the disabilities, because disability is not a homogeneous group. Disability is particularly a heterogeneous group. So heterogeneous because every disability person is the unique person. He has his own problem. For example, the applying accessibility for the persons with locomotory disability is not to be the same with the blind people. Blind people need the different types of the interventions. For example, they are needs the different types of that is to be the accessibility. So that's why whenever we say that the major problem with that is to the implementations of the programs or policies for these persons particularly is the lack of the proper data available, number of the disabled program, and extent magnitude of the problem. That means what is the status, or what is the statistical profile of the, or what is the populations of the disability. Now government of central government has been that implemented UDI card, that is universal identity card, and that it has given throughout the country, it has given one unique ID card, just like Aadhaar card, to the all disabled persons throughout the India. In future, if the disabled persons are to be the registered, at least that hospitals or the higher education institutions, for example colleges, if they have to be taken the initiative or making the aware about the students to register for this UDI card, and that will be give the authentic and good data for the persons with the disability. And 1905, I have already told that the 95 Act has identified the 7 types of the disability, whereas the 2016 16 Act, Rights of the Persons with Disability Act, has identified, it has given 21 types of the disability. Now come to the, according to this act, what are these 21 type of the disabilities? It has to be grouped in first, physical disability, and next, intellectual disability, and disability and multiple disability. These are the groups. Within this group, see that what are the physical disability. First one is the locomotory disability, and in within this locomotory disability, leprosy cured persons, those who have cured the persons, they have also have the some problem of the movements, for example leg, hands, like this. And next one is the cerebral palsy, and Dravism. Dravism means those who are not having the normal height. It is the height within the 4 feet. That means they are to be the normally 2 feet, 3 feet, or below the 4 feet. And muscular dystrophy, acid attack victims. It is to be increasing, and this act has included these people also in the disabled category, because that disability, the acid active victims have also suffered from many types of the dysfunctions of their body, for example hand, mouth, or leg, like this. And next one to be the visual impairment. Within physical disability, visual, within visual blindness, 100% blind, that person can't see anything else. And the next one is the low vision. Hmm? And hearing impairment, hearing in the deaf, and hard of hearing. Deaf means those who can't speak, and hard of impairment, they have the problems of the impairing. And next one is the speech and language disability. That means those persons can hear but they can't speak, or they can speak but they can't properly speak, at least, or they can't very familiar with the languages. There is the language problems. And next one is the intellectual disability. And within the intellectual disability, the specific learning disability, autism spectrum disorder, and mental behavior, that is the mental illness, those people also comes under to the disability. For example schizophrenia, or multiple disorder, personality disorder people. And next one is the disability caused due to the chronic neurological conditions, such as multiple sclerosis and Parkinson diseases. And next one is the blood disorders. See that within these are all comes under to the intellectual disability. And next one is to be the blood disorders. For example there are to be the blood disorder related disability, and this is the hemophilia, and thalassemia, and sickle cell diseases, where these basically these people face the problem of the blood, and continuous giving providing the blood to these people is to be the very important. Next one is the multiple disability. That means a person, those who have the physical disability, locomotory disability, or for example to be the intellectual disability. Now come to the next part. These are to be the now 2020 there are 20, sorry, 21 types of the disability, and these are to be the given by recent act, that is 2016 act, the persons with the right of persons with disability act. Now just I want to give some of the brief statistical profile of the disabled in India. See that we all are aware about that. As per the census 2001, 11 in India, out of 121 crore, 121 crore populations, out of which 2.16 crore persons are the disabled persons. That means nearly 2 to 3 crore people are the disabled persons, and which out of that is to be the 2%. Nearly 2 to 3% people are to be the disabled persons. And among disabled persons, 56 persons are the males, more number of the males, whereas 44 persons are the females in the total populations. And whereas the percentage of these male and female is 51 and 49 respectively. And next one, majority of the disabled, that is 69% of the disabled are resided in the rural areas. And I have already discussed about why the more number of the disabled are from the rural areas, and there are to be the n number of the causes which resulted in the disability, and that percentage is to be the nearly 70, 69, that means 69 percentage. Whereas 31 resided in the rural areas, that means one third are the urban, and whereas 3% of the are to be the rural areas. And the census 2000 revealed that 20% of the total disability, within 2% of the disabled people, 20% are having the disability in the movement, for example locomotory disability, and 19 are the seeing people, that means blind people. 19 people are the blind people, and 19 percentage with hearing impairment, and 8 percentage with the multiple disability. This is the brief statistical profile of the disables in the persons, and this statistical shows that nearly 2.2 percent, 2.21% of the total populations of the India are the disabled persons according to 2091 census, and more number of the disabled are the male peoples, and whereas we find more number of the disabled peoples are from the rural areas. Now next part, our second part is to be deals with the various acts related to the persons with the disability and the guidelines also. See that since from the independence or before also, that Indian government has to be, it is to be known as the Indian government, or India is to be known as a welfare state, and it has to be implementing, or it has been implementing many policies programs for the each and every group, for example women, SC, ST, or all other deprived sections of the society. It is being implemented, for example rural development program, urban development program, 5-year plans, so that in this concern with the disability sector, or disability is to be the important for the important agenda of the government of the India. It has to be trying to bring them in the mainstream society, and there are many rehabilitative there are the schools, institutions, for example if a mental retarded institutions is there, blind institutions is there, and for example there are to be the all over, all at all level, the government of India is to be trying for them into the bring them in the mainstream of the society by implementing the acts and guidelines also. See that the first persons with disability act 1995, and I have already told you that the 1995 act has given 7 types of the disabilities, and it has also given all the special school reservation, admissions, employment to the for the persons of it. And this act was to be the one of the milestone in the rehabilitations, or to for the persons with disability, to bring them in the mainstream of the society. And second one is the mental health act 1987, and third one is the rehabilitations of the Council of India 1992, and National Trust for the Welfare and the persons with the autism and cerebral palsy, mental retardations, and multiple disabilities, because these all types of the disabilities not included into the 95 acts, but 2016 has been taken as them as a one of the important disabilities in this in the concern act. So that's why the separate act were implemented for the cerebral palsy, mental retardation, multiple disability acts. Then declaration on the rights of mentally retarded persons. Next, very important thing, that Rights of Persons with Disability Act 2016, where it is available in the website, and it is to be the mandatory for every institutions of the our government of India. It is to be mandatory for everywhere to implement each and every part as concerned with the different sections. For example, for higher educations, there are also many provisions are to be there, and for the school education is also there, for the skill educations, for example their population, their marriage, their reproductive, each and everything is to be highlighted in this 2016 act. And see that for NEP, national education policy for 2020, is also initiating the same provision based on the 2016 act, in the now this same thing, whatever the provisions done in the 2016 act, same provisions are to be taken into national education policy 20 and 20. And next one thing is, for the particularly for higher educations, the UGC is to be issuing timely guidelines for the accessibility of the these schemes. For the 11 and 12th plan, there is the HEPSON scheme, higher education scheme for persons with disability, and that has to be given for the implementation of the special educations in the higher educations. For example, differently, that is to be the units, our units or centers for the persons with disability should be established. Center for disability studies should be, or the differently abled unit should be established. Equal opportunity cells should be established in the each college and each universities for inclusion of these all students. For example, this center should be work for the inclusion and accessibility of the campuses in the particular university. When in many universities, these centers are doing very well. They are to be calling the meetings of the students. They are no that, but they are check outing the needs and problems of the students, and according to their reports and that feedback, they are preparing the plan for their accessibility of their own campuses. And recently, on July 12, 2022, the accessibility guidelines and standards for higher education institutions and university is published. And just on 12 2022, just 4 5 days back, UGC has issued one of the documents, and it is 1000 sorry 174 pages, and each teacher and each administrator from the university and colleges should go through this document, and it is to be the mandatory for all the institutions to implement or to make the access of campus. And in this document, each and every thing is to be the made given the guideline to how to access the campuses. And this one is to be the basically the acts, and where there are the provisions, for example scholarships. According to these all the acts, guidelines are to be the implemented particularly for the persons with the disability. And next, for the third part, we will discuss what are the important inclusive practices or measures that should done by, or that should undertaken by each and every institutions and its campus, college campus, for the accessibility of the higher educations. Because I have already told you that this is the heterogeneous group, we have to access as per their requirement. Once accessibility is to be done, for example, the locomotory disabled persons need not to be the accessibility of the blind people. For example, intellectual disabled people may not be accessed as per the blind people. So these are to be the heterogeneous group. Just we have to know their this, we have to study this heterogeneous group, we have to check out the needs of them, we have to check out the problems of them, and within the inclusive education, within the able students, we have to carry out them. Because there are to be the two arguments. Some people are thinking, why should we bring them in the inclusive education. We should give the special facilities for them. We have to establish the special universities for them. We have to establish the separate hostel them. But I think that inclusive education is to be the best education, where the people, where student can know the problems of the others, and these students are may not be that stigmatized. They may not be feel we are the disabled people and we need the more attentions for them, because special education will be create such a type of the stigma that these disabled people thinks that we are the specialized people. We need more attentions. But inclusion educations, everything is to be the same, so we will treat them as a same people. Just we need the extra alterations, because whenever in the family we have two, three, or two childrens, one is to be the intelligent, or he's doing his everything homework or other things are to be the very good, but other is in the weak in the homework. Then what we can do, we will give more time to them, and we want to bring them as per the first child what is the doing, so we are sparing extra time. We are making the tuitions, or at least we are teaching them, or we are taking them, that means we are convincing them, counseling them how to do the homework, or we are taking the help of the teachers also. So same thing is to be the done in the institutions. These are also our students. They need extra, something to be the extra, and this is to be the right. It is their right. We have to provide them. We don't want to see the sympathies. Crossing them every day or helping them is to be the, it's okay, but they are to be the invalid. We made a campus. We will provide such a facilities that where they can help themselves. And there is no everyday for those who, because for example, if we are there is no ramps, there is no wheelchair, then every day what those other people can help them to bring them up to the classroom. Then why should this one? We should access our classroom. We should do our the ramps. Some old buildings are there, but we have to should we do temporary ramps, and we have to the lifts. We have to keep the wheelchairs that persons may come to the classroom without anyone's help. So this is the very much inclusive practices, and this inclusive education should be there, not the special educations, but just with the extra care and with the extra attentions. We have to do the some provisions for these peoples. Now come to the third part, which is to be the important. What are the inclusive practices or the measures that our campus should have to be undertaken for the accessibility of these persons with disability persons, or to enhance their participations? Before this, we have to know that what the participations of these disabled persons in the higher educations. See that the Constitution of India ensures the equality, freedom, justice, and dignity, all the individual and implicity to the mandate and inclusive society for including persons with the disability. That means for giving the equal opportunity or equality to the other disadvantaged groups, like that the persons of the disability also considered as a one of the important sections or one of the important groups. And it is the in Indian constitutions has ensured the equality for the persons with the disability, and it is released that major persons are the better. Now as compared to this, after the 75 of the independence period, they are leading the better life. They are leading better life, but we need to give them the best life. We need to give them the best life because of the implementations after, because Indian government is to be the known as, or it is the welfare state, and since from the independence day it is implementing 5-year plans, implementing many community development programs, women welfare programs, senior citizen programs. Every disadvantages CST that is some programs for these groups, they are to be the implementing or since from independence many program policies are to be implementing for every group or every disadvantaged group of the society. So like this, the Indian government has also initiating the programs and policies towards these people. But even though the for the betterment or for living the best life, we need to give them the more concerns as compared to the other groups. The school participations or attention towards these people are to be the it is to be the going on. And 1995 act is to be the milestone act where it has initiated for the empowerment of the disabled persons, and our ministry of empowerment for the persons with disability is also working towards this, and many NGOs with the help of the government are doing not at all, but a few of them are doing very wonderful work at the local level to the national level for the inclusion of these peoples. So it is important to have the knowledge and understanding. See that before the accessibility or before giving the facilities for the persons with disability, we need to know about, we have to knowledge and to, or we have to understand the barriers and facilitate the conducive environment or effective teaching and learning in the higher educations. Then everyone should, or every stakeholder of the institution should know what are the what are the problems, or what are the opportunities, or what are the barriers, what are the problems. Because this is the I have already told you, all of you, that that this group is the heterogeneous group. It is not the homogeneous group, it is the heterogeneous group, and where every group needs a different type of the concern. Every group needs the different type of the concerns, it needs different type of the problems, and the accessibility of the every group of these 21 types of the disability in higher education is to be the need based and problem based approach. We should have the need based approach, we should have the problem based approach. So that's why the understanding the barriers, understanding the problems, understanding the main needs of these people in the higher education should be very important. Then only we can make them, we can make the accessible to the higher education. Then questions comes, why should we give access? Why should we give the accessibility or the disabled friendly or disabled friendly or conducive environment for the persons with disability? Because I have already told that disability is the after, but these people are also the human beings. And when the right based approach, human right based approach, when we say that we treat them as the human beings, important human beings for the development of the nations, and to consider as a human resource, we have to need, or we have to give them the extra time or extra accessibility for their development and for their empowerment. See that the accessibility of the persons with higher educations leads the employment opportunity for these peoples, and employment opportunity of these peoples leads to the poverty elevations, and the poverty elevation should be need the social inclusion, and that should leads these people also lead the higher, that in the esteems or esteemed citizens of the society, and they should needs also, they are to be having the good status or higher status and better status in the society. So that's why the inclusion of these peoples in the higher educations is to be the important thing for the persons with disability. And next one is the every institutions has its own breathing, that means I think that this is to be the breathe sentence for the every institutions. What it is the inclusion, and next one it is to be the accessibility. Why we should have the special education? Inclusion should be there because these are also the human beings, they are also not the other peoples, they are also the part of one. When we have the such a persons in the family, when we treat them as a one of our brother, one of our sister, one of our relative, like this the institutions, the brotherhood, or all these peoples are to be the like us only, and we are one of them, and all of us are the same people. So that's why the inclusion is to be the very important. See that whenever in our home, we have the some two or three children, and one child is to be the, he is to be the extraordinary, and he are doing everything in good way, doing homework properly, but other child is not doing like this, he has some problems. Then as a parents, we are sparing more time, because we are seeing that this is also our child, this is also my child, and I have to spare the good time to him, I have to teach him extra time to him. If it is possible, I have to take the tuitions for him, or I have to contact the teachers, I have to counsel this child, and I have to do something better for this child. I have to bring this child as a level of my first child, as a level of my first child, and we are doing irrespective of this, we are doing all the efforts for the second child. So same thing has to be the happen in the institutions. All are the students, all are the same students, but we need some extra for the some students, or some, for example, we are conducting the advanced and slow learner like this, so we have to give the extra time, extra attention, or something alterations for these peoples of the persons with disability. So every institutions have its breathe, that is the inclusion and accessibility in the higher education. So facilitating the inclusion and accessibility is to be the important and urgent need for the higher educations throughout the India, for the participations of the India. And this inclusion and accessibility is to be it is to be emphasizing, or it is to be given importance by, or the provisions are granted, guidelines are to be the given in UNCPRD, the Provisions with Disability Act to 1995, the the Rights of Persons with Disability Act, that is 2016, National Trust Act 1999, Marrakesh VIP Treaty, and Bicao Millennium Framework, and the Rights of Persons with Disability Act 2016, and University Grant Commission UGC guidelines with special attentions to the inclusion and the accessibility. And then these according to this provision, and just I have already told that accessibility guidelines and standards for higher education institutions and university published by UGC on July 12 and 2020. It is the 174 document, 170 pages document, and each teacher, each administrator in the higher education, in the institutions, colleges, and students, everyone should know this document, and they should read the page to page. And the UGC has given all the guidelines how to access the campus from gate to your main building, your classrooms, your admission procedure, your reservations, your skill based programs, and each and everything. And if we give these accessibility, then only comes to these people will come to the classroom. If in case of the disability, if we are giving the facilities, everyone is showing the sympathies to this them. Whenever there is no wheelchair, there is no ramp, the other fellow colleagues or peer groups, his friends, they are bringing or lifting them to the classroom, they are sitting them to the benches, and again once again they are to be the taking them. Even though our public transportation is not also the accessible, how these people can be travel for the by the buses or by the other public transports, they are coming. And if they are from the poor background, they can't afford these private rickshaw or taxis, so that's why they remain in the home. So everything should be access for them, but we are thinking about our own campus. We should provide them the wheelchair, we should provide them the ramps, we should provide them the left, and these people can help themselves. We are not showing the sympathy to them. It is their right, they can do, or it is their right, they are they are demanding their rights. We should provide these facilities every day, they can help themselves, and they alone They can came, they will come to our classroom when we make the classrooms are to the easy accessible for this person. So according to these UGC guidelines just published on July 2022, we have to need to provide the accessible campus or accessible institutions for the participations of these disables in the persons with disability. Then we are speaking continuously accessible inclusive practices. Then what are these inclusions, or what are these inclusive practices? What is the accessibility? See that accessibility, first thing is the accessibility is the need based accessibility. It is the blind people are not same given to the as the locomotor disability, because locomotor disability problems are to be the different, and the other that is to be the blind people's disability problem is to be the different. So accessibility for the each group is to be the different. So we have to do according to the 21 types of the accessibility in each and everything, from example, from the admissions to the for example to the giving the up to the degree. Next, then what are the inclusive practices and how can we access? First thing, and it is very important thing, that we have to identify the problem and educational needs of PWD in the higher education. First, we have to do, our campus should be do, our teacher should be do, our administrator should be do, our honorable authority should be do what, that they should be check out what are the needs. And sometimes these needs of these problems should be identified by us first, and these need based approach, problem based approach should be taken for the accessible campus, to given the accessible campus for the persons with the disability. So we have to identify what are the problems. For example, what are the problems for locomotor disability, what are the problems of blind people, what are the problems of multiple disabled persons, what are the problems of Parkinson's problem, what are the thalassemia problems, and what type of the health, what type of the needs, or what type of the problems they are to be we expecting. That should be very important. And second one thing is, when we have to check out the needs, when we have to check out the problems, second one things comes to the sensitizations and training at the various levels. See that I want to share one of the experience. Sensitizations is very important, because attitude concern with these people, or mindset of these people is not to be positive, it is not to be favorable. Still there is the stigma concern with these persons with the disability. See that being a professor in the Department of Sociology, Shivaji University, I am heading two schemes. One is the UGC scheme for persons with disability. It come under the Hepson scheme and implemented, or it is to be the from the 12th plan of the UGC scheme, and it is working for the inclusion of all the persons with disability, students and others in the university, that is others means staffs and teachers. And second one is the, it is the gender related or gender sensitization program, that is the Beti Bachao program, where we are conducting the awareness programs for the increase in the that is the sex ratios. But when we conduct the many awareness programs, conferences, seminar, then we see that the people from the when we organize the awareness program or street play under the Beti Bachao, then we will get good response. That is overwhelming response. Very, that means we have to be. That means we get the more number of the participant without doing much thing, that just with a notice, simple notice. But when we conduct the programs and seminars for these people, disabled peoples, or for the disabled peoples, no one will be ready. There are other people, able people are thinking that why should we go there? We are not the disabled. It is not our problem. It is the disabled's problem. So disabled's problem will, they will solve their own problems, and they have to solve their own problems, so that they should be give there. But this is not to be good thing. See that the sensitization, able people should know the needs and problems of the disabled people. Able problems should know the needs and disables of the people. So sensitizations of training at the various level for the various stakeholders, especially peers, teachers, staff, in order to accommodate the needs of the students with disability. And where to accommodate? In the admission, in the fieldwork, and in the internship, in the research, or the funding schemes. For example, in the fieldwork, they need more time. A normal student can complete the fieldwork within 4 hours, but the teacher should be sensitized. Teacher should be know he has to give the extra time to his disabled students. So that's why the sensitizations of these disabled students is to be the very important, where we can give more time for in the library services also, library accessibility also, for example job accessibility also, where example job placement also, scholarship and funding schemes. So in this, while we are accommodating all these things, we should have our own strategies. And so wherever there need, for example when in the classroom, in the concern with fieldwork, in the concern with internals, then teacher should have to be sensitization. When in the classroom, the peer group should be sensitizations. They should be how to adjust these people. Then don't make the jokes about them, because that will be hurt you. Don't to see them as the stigmatized. Don't to see them they are to be the different persons. Huh? They are to be not different persons. They are not having any extra ability. They are also with us with some, that is the physical or some type of the mental illnesses that is caused by, because of many and numbers of the reasons. That is not a way. And next one is the fostering the inclusive culture in the higher education. That is to be the very much, everyone is to be the same, each one is to be the having unique abilities. And so everything is to be the, that is not to be the, some people are to be special and some people are to be not special. That is not anything. Inclusion of all levels of, because classroom is the heterogeneous group. Everyone is not to be the same. Everyone is to be, not all the fingers are to be the same. Not same. When all the fingers are to be same, we can't to able eat. So like this, everyone is to be the unique. And everyone, so inclusion of all these things are the inclusion, fostering the inclusion culture in the higher education is to be the very important. And next one, at the awareness programs. For example, awareness program at the institution level, for the all at the higher, for example at the every stakeholders, for example even the clerk to the peon, teachers, the teaching staff, non-teaching staff, students, or every stakeholders of the university, it's okay. But we need to make the awareness about outside of the campus also, or outside in the society also. We have to counsel the parents also. We have to give the courage to the parents also, and we have to try to parents to make their children to come out from the comfort zone. When we come, see that when we conduct one of the placement of placement cell, that is a job fair for the persons with disability, and there are many opportunities in the private companies in the Pune and Mumbai, but the parents are not ready to go there, send to their children there, because they are feeling that it is not our the, it is, this is not the comfort zone. This is only the city, Kolhapur city, and having, if it, is there any work, even though it is not to be suitable for their qualifications or any other, but it is to be the good for them, and they are ready to take the these jobs here only. They are to be the feeling, they are not going for the out of the comfort zone. And next one is the pictorial lectures, sign language, and curriculum accessibility. Experimental learning is to be done. For example, if blinds are there, you can record it, you can play it in, not only giving the lecture mode. Actually this is this lecture is also not accessible for the all types of the disabled people. So accessibility of the lectures is true, and with sign language, experimental learning, and access to seating arrangement is to be the classroom for easier access. For example, drivism, those who have not having the normal height, They should, how then they can sit the chairs of the normal people. So we have to do the seating arrangements, seating arrangement in classroom, seating arrangement in halls, auditorium, seating arrangement in the library. So seating arrangement with the persons with disability should be very important. And next, easy availability of the transport for academic and social mobility within the campus. This is very important because many universities are having, our own university is having the campus of 900 campus, and all the departments are scattered here and there. There is the 200 kilometers or one or half and one, and at least half kilometer or 1 kilometer differences in the one department to the other department, main building, library. Then how these people can be that means they can mobile, how they can be transport. So transport availability facility to be provided in the campus also. And next, website accessibility, it is very important thing that our every university and colleges to be have the accessible website for the persons with the disability, particularly for the blind. When we have to issue the admission circular or any other circular, we have to access these people for the persons with the disability. And revise the admission policies bearing the mind of accessibility. For example, 2016 act gives the 5% admissions or reservations in the admissions for the persons with disability. So it is mandatory for the institutions to give the 5% admissions for each person in each courses for the persons with the disability, and it is to be the mandatory. Admission procedure, entrance exam, personal interview, classroom adoption, and cohesions, peer group learning, this should make to be the very accessible for the persons with disability. Now come to the part that facilitating, see that social availability, that is admission process and extra entrance exam, personal interview, and classroom adoptions, that I have already told that our classroom should be, for example, in seating arrangement, blackboard, recorded video, ppt. Or for example, for the deaf and dumb, there are some apps are also comes. There is one of the app which is developed by Somaya College of the Mumbai Engineering College, loudspeak. When we are teaching using this app, then automatically the typing of the what we are speaking, that will be typed on the screen, and that was to be the visible for the dumb and deaf people. And automatically the recorded video will be help to the blind people. And differently, the locomotory people are not to be only their sitting arrangement. For example, the rooms, up to the rooms there should be having the ramps. These are to be the sufficient for the these people. And for intellectual learning people, we need to give the more times. For example, we have to repeat it the sentences what we are teaching them. We will give the extra time to them, or we have to wait for them to take the notes or anything else. So that's should be, we should, the every teacher should be take the needs based approach, or to be the sensitive approach for these peoples. And next one is the make the fieldwork changes. I have already told that if the persons with disability, they are not able to do the field work, you can give the alternative to them. For example, you can give the, instead of field work, instead of going for the fields actual, you can give the some their, for example, you can give the assignments, or you can give the taking the review of the available published data, that is the secondary type of the data. So you can give the research type, research topic basis on the secondary data. And it now come to the very important, if when the primary data is to be the essential, we should have the facility of the research scribe. We heard the exam scribe means those are the blind people, they can't to be, they are not to be able write their paper, they are dictating the answers to the questions, and someone writer, they have to be taken the writer is to be called as a scribe in according to the laws. And this scribe should be, he's, if the candidate is the postgraduate giving the exam of post graduations, then the undergraduate student should be work as a scribe. So like the we are providing the exam scribe, like this we will provide the research scribe also. And these research scribes help the persons with disability to collect the data, to analyze the data, and to help to write the report also. So research scribe is to be the very important for the PhD student in the campuses. Make the arrangement of research scribes, data analysis, and use the open resource educational resources, softwares, and there are many free softwares and some softwares are to be purchased, screen reader computer. So that's why recorded the open resources and competitive ICT is to be the very important, where the assistive technology devices are to be the making these peoples very friendly, and each campus or each university should to have these assistive technologies for in the teaching, learning, field work, or anything else. And next, review the hostel accommodation. It is very important. If your hostel is not having the lifts, then you can provide the accommodations for these girls and boys within the first floor. And for first floor, the rooms also made to be the accessible for. Toilets of the hostels are to be the mere accessible for. Dining hall should be made to the accessible from. They can easily walk from their room to the dining hall, their dining hall to their room, their from room to their department, and department to their classroom. So such a we have to access all these things, and they can to be walk very freely and frankly with themselves without any need of the peoples. And serving system, I have already told that halls, and give the provide the guide students with disability financial accessible. For example, if the scholarships are not there, everyone can't get the scholarship. There are some scholarships are merit based, or then for the professional courses there are the high fees also are higher. Then there should be made a provision for the loan facilities. If the bank are providing also the student loan, but the universities are providing the loans with low interest, that is also beneficial. If I think that loan is not to be the important, and that is to be the burden to the disabled persons. It is important to enhance the scholarship levels, because the for disabled persons are to be the taken as the open. There is no any government fee concessions, or like SC/ST, and that some states have their they have their own facilities. They are even though in admission they are to be treated as the open only. So that's why they are paying higher fees. So the university should give the fee concession. Engage the teachers and peers, breaking the barriers on daily basis with the sensitizations major. Buddy system, every support the students with disability. So everything, every day something is to be the coming new. Every day everything is to be the changing. So that's why the teacher, peer groups, all are to be the make day by day sensitizations, and they have to engage or to give the extra time these people. And the teacher should to be the works as the parents here. It is very important. When in the home the parents are giving the extra time to such type of the children, those who are having not having the fast learning or extraordinary, they are sparing the time. Even though they are sparing more time to extraordinary to make extra, so such a time the teachers are not to be thinking that this is 1 hour my lecture, why should I to entertain that type of the child. If it is his problem, he has to know or not know. But this is not the things. If he comes repeatedly, he has any doubts, you can available and you can engage yourself for your kindness. And to conduct the inclusion audit, see that when we are making the accessibility, once we have to be given some measures, undertaken the some measures, and we are done these measures, but some the report is not to be that means this is not to be very much friendly for them. Then we have to conduct the meetings of these peoples, and we have to take the feedback from the beneficiaries. Whenever there is the scheme is implemented, then for the better implementation, best implementation, better implementation of the schemes, we are conducting the research. We are giving the suggestions to the government. There is the loopholes in this scheme, or it is the good thing, it is the bad things. Like this, we should have take the feedbacks from these peoples, and on the basis of these feedbacks we can make the we can prepare the draft for every year, and according to that draft we have to make the campus the suitable changes for these disabled persons. And I have already told that teacher sensitization, lecture, assessment, pedagogy, and with disability. A 2016 Act or many exam statutes for Maharashtra government. There is 2018 exam statutes which told that the persons with disability has to be given 20 minutes extra per hour. That is 1 hour for 3 hours examination. So that should the junior supervisor should know this. Senior supervisor should know this. Even the disabled students should be know this. So whatever the schemes, whatever the facilities, whatever the programs, whatever campus is to be giving them, we have to sensitization each and every. For example, including disabled and including non-disabled people from the campus, from the top bottom to the top level. You have to sensitize the registrars. You have to sensitize the deputy registrar. You have to sensitize the peer group, teachers, students. Each and everything is to be the important. You have to provide the counseling and guidance. Many times due to the stigma, many times many problems, and they with the low confidence, these students are to be suffering from many problems. So we have to the teacher or other group should be, we have to counselor. And we have implemented one of the initiatives that we have that is we have appointed, that means we have taken the voluntaries, and these students are from the learn and earn scheme. Our university has the learn and earn scheme, where these students are helping means they are, if there is the admission process, if there is the queue, then these voluntaries, they are staying there and they are helping to admission, they are helping to the classroom, they are helping to the hostel. So voluntary scheme should be implemented in the universities. And for example to counseling these peoples, to increase their confidence, to increase their that means increase their confidence among them also, and among the others also, is to be the needed for the their higher participations in the ends. For example, conscious and needs of difference, create the awareness about needs of differently able. First thing is that differently able should know what they are expecting from the campus, what is their aim, what are they are doing, and like this their needs are to be the ones tackled, then automatically the accessibility should be given. Then I have already told that fee concession, exam procedures, reservations. There is 4%, 5% reservation in the admission, and 4% reservation in the recruitment should be mandatory for all university and colleges for the persons with disability. Policies is, each university has its own policy for the persons with disability, and that policy should check out what should be given to the persons, and there should be how we can increase when we are seeing the admissions, no, when we are seeking the admissions, we are trying for more admissions to our institutions, then our group should be heterogeneous, our group should be from disabled, our group should be from backward classes, our group should be from tribes, our group should be from women. All the sections of the society should be included, our student group, our admissions. So that's why each every policies, programs, initiatives should be implemented in this case. And to study aptitude, to increase the study aptitude among the differently able groups, to get to conducting the cultural programs, to conducting the some study tours for people, and to celebrate, to enhance their confidence. It is important to celebrate the days. For example, World Disabled Day on 3rd December, White Cane Days, Helen Keller birth anniversary. Or we have to also make this some presentation of some models, those successful students. For example, a disabled who has qualified the MPSC UPSC exams, then we will conduct, or we will at least felicitate these students which will become the role model, and from that they can get the confidence level, and their aptitude of teaching will be increased, and which will be help to ensure them. And special assistive device, already I have told you that. And institute should create the special facilities, that is important, and it is to be already discussed: ramps, rails, toilets, and necessary changes, lifts, rails, all these to be the must, and it is to be the mandatory. Every campus should have such a type of facility to enhance these peoples. And next come to the right of persons has to be important landmark. So according to this act and according to the UGC guideline, we have to make the curriculum accessible, buildings accessible, and each and every part sensitizations of the all staffs is to be the very important. And accessibility of the curriculum, for example, not changes in the curriculum is not important, access is to be important. That means you are teaching, then how it to be reach the differently able, how it to reach the blind people, how it to reach the deaf people. So your curriculum accessibility should be taken into considerations of these all people. And your university should have one course, at least one certificate course, that is the center for the disability studies, where all, and it is to be made compulsory for all the stakeholders to know about what are the disability, what types of the disability, what are the policies, what is the reservation, what is the opportunities, what is the skills. So that should be very important. Emphasizing design on curriculum guidelines, accessible curriculum use formats, processes, language, need of choices, flexibility, reasonable adjustment, teaching and learning adjustment. Education institutions need to be developed their accommodations policy and procedures available for the persons with the disability. Another very important thing is the ICT accessibility. ICT is to be the ICT offer a great potential to support the lifelong learning for all the groups of the students, including those who have special educational needs. So ICT is to be very important for the uh, for these people, where they can easily access. So your university and campus should be have the ICT facilities. Then now come to just I want to highlight, being a coordinator of UGC scheme for persons of the university, our Shivaji University, Kolhapur, is to be located in the Kolhapur city, and it is basically known as a rural university, where now it is to be accredited. Last year, the NAC accredited AA plus, and is to be known as one of the reputed university in the Maharashtra. And under the UGC scheme, we are not, I am not saying much, but we are trying to give the accessible for the persons with the disability, and some initiatives are to be the undertaken by the university for accessible. First, Shivaji University has to be formulated a Shivaji University policy for persons with disability, and that policy has to be included each and everything, and this policy is to be framed on the basis of 2016 act, where admission, curriculum, exam, research, infrastructure accessibility, all these are to be done. Budget, 2016 act, it indicates that university should have its own budget. And when there is the university budget, out of the university budget, the 4% of the university budget should be for the persons with the disability. And other grants, for example, and for example, our grants, universities, UGC is not still that our universities, the scheme is also running with our university funds. So university funds can do some accessible, our budget should be do for the fee concession, research scribe, exam scribe, or for accessible of the persons with disability. Accessible facilities, access audit. We conduct the every year the access audit, what has to be done, and what we are to be in future, what should be we do. That is to be the access audit. Reservation of PWDs, reservation in exam admissions, in PhD admission, then awareness program, workshop, and official meetings of these disability students, staffs, and other stakeholders. And include Center for Inclusive Education is also working for providing the material. It is converting the textbooks in the converted form to access the blind people. With this initiative, university is trying for make the campus to be the accessible and to enhance the participations. With this, all the throughout India, every institutions and every colleges and every university should be accessible for the we should make the accessible for persons with disability, where it will automatically leads the more participations of the persons with disability, and which leads to the employment opportunity, where it's the social inclusion, and they are not to be the deprived groups, or they are also one of the among this. And with these all are the many of them are the technical issues. But when comes to the mindset, so our mindset should be, our attitudinal change should be very important. We have to know any prejudice and biases. We should be free from the stigma. We should consider that they are not any different people, they are not any other people, they are with us also, we are with them, and they are one of the among us. With this mindset, if there is the such a mindset, we considered one of them as a family, consider our their children as their child, so such as we consider these people as one of the among us, then everything will be becomes each. I am very much thankful for HRD, UGC HRDC Gujarat University, and Professor Dr. Jagdish sir, the director, for giving me an opportunity to deliver a sessions on the accessibility and inclusive practices in the persons with disability in the higher education. Thank you, thank you. I am very much thankful. Those who are directly and indirectly uh, involved in organizing the third online refresher course in the social sciences. Thank you, thank you.